Hi, the 50 people who follow me on YouTube. I decided to make more videos of me just talking to you because they take a lot less prep than trying to sneak my camera in the gym and take video of myself working out, which I'll still try to do, but I usually like to focus on my workout and not really have to take out the camera. Plus, it stops my music when I do the camera with my cell phone. So, it's two reasons why I don't really do it as much as I should. But I should have I recently uploaded a Rings LSIT on Rings little clip, which was, my form was great, but my hair sucked, so whatever. But yeah, I did an LSIT on Rings video, and I'm gonna do, my regular LSIT with a pull-up bar. So I'm gonna try to sneak my camera to do that one. Where the pull-up bar is positioned, there isn't really anything I could lean my phone against, but I'll see about doing that. I have a lot of blog ideas that have been in draft for months, some of them even years, that have been in my drafts, and I just haven't completed them. I have so many things I'd like to cover. So today I'm going to pick anything on this list as something to talk about. I think a good one, since I guess this is my first return, to YouTube since I started this channel, which I don't know when that was. Maybe it was like 2007, and it was pathetic, but whatever. I was like 23, and I was pretty goofy and stuff. Then I stopped for a bit, but I'm always talking about fitness and exercise, so might as well. And I do believe I could help a lot of people, as I do in my regular daily life. Part of the reason why I'm always helping people is because of how long I've maintained being fit, how long I've maintained a healthy body fat percentage, strength, and not just regular strength, but high level strength and fitness for as long as I have, which is 15 years. So my topic today is, how have I stayed fit for 15 years? So the number one way that I've managed to stay fit for 15 years, it has to do with my beliefs. And it's really going to be difficult for me to word all this, so I'm just going to try my best, because there's a lot of things that go into my motivators. But I do believe that as humans, as supposedly a high-level species in which we can reflect upon our actions, in which we can control our actions based off knowledge of what our actions can do, the outcomes of our actions, the fact that there are so many factors in our lives that we can manipulate. I just find it to be unacceptable for an adult human to not have the self-control to keep themselves at least, in a healthy body fat percentage. I know it sounds harsh, and some people would say that's unattainable and all this other crap. Well, you know what? If you're a living being and you have living cells and you don't treat them well, you will not be well. And I personally, when people say they think it's ridiculous that I think any adult with a fully functioning brain should be able to keep a healthy body fat percentage, as ridiculous as they think that is, I think it's pretty ridiculous to know all the damage you could do to yourself and yet still consciously do it. So I do not believe in getting into an unhealthy body fat level. I don't believe in mistreating my body, be it with alcohol or junk food or, hold on, there's something in my mouth. Be it with alcohol, not monitoring how much food I take in with every meal or per day, and so on and so forth, and not exercising. I would be very disappointed in myself if I it's not even about being disappointed in myself. I just don't believe in it. I just think it's dumb. That's the end. For me, if I don't want something, I don't do it. It's pretty simple. So that's one of my, that's always going to be the main reason why I stay fit. So, I went through many hard periods of my life. When my son was about 8 years old, he and I almost became homeless. We had to call it a woman's shelter and see if I could get in the shelter. I got accepted at the shelter, but thankfully I found a woman I could whatever that thing is when you share a house with someone. And it was a very tough time, but I still worked out. Even though I can afford a gym membership, I exercised in her upstairs family room with Kathy Friedrich videos and did different body weight workouts, and I always ate healthy. I just don't believe that humans should do anything otherwise, because we are conscious of what is good for our bodies and what is not. So it doesn't matter what's going on in my life. So on a day-to-day level, what is it like to stay fit for 15 years straight? On a day-to-day level, it's like this. I'll tell you about the technicals, okay? These are the technical ways that I've been able to stay fit for 15 years. Number one is education, okay? So, you know that eating certain foods is unhealthy for you, blah, blah, blah. Or we assume certain types of foods are unhealthy. Some of us don't really know a lot about the composition of different foods. We just hear what someone else says and follow suit. So I first got an education. So when I was 18, and I was in the Air Force, I had extra money. I bought a personal training course. It was like $600. I read the course, and I did that just so I'd know what personal trainers know. And with it being a course by an organization that specializes in teaching people how to get fit, which this course was ISSA, International Sports Sciences Association. And it has a bibliography full of scientific studies that support the material in there. I said, who am I to argue with this information? And I followed everything it said. One of the things that, growing up as a female, people hear a lot is, ooh, I have to eat very little, oh, I'm not going to eat that much today, so that they, women, a lot of females prescribed by that, of starvation. So that book taught me about eating smaller meals more frequently, 5 small meals. And at first it was jarring to me. I'm like, oh my god, 5 small meals. But I immediately, the second I thought of that, I also thought, these are the experts, not me. And guess what? When I listened to the experts, I didn't have a problem. It's been like that ever since then, for all the years I've been doing this. So in addition to ISSA, of course, I got more nutrition and exercise books, and they're always by professional coaches or organizations. They're not by celebrities or even athletes. I don't go to the athlete, I go to the athlete's coach. I don't just go to the coach, I go to where he or she got her training. If you do that, then you'll get the right information and you won't have a problem. Don't go to Oprah's book club. Number 2 is nutrition. So I'll give you a brief rundown of nutrition. The 5 smaller meals a day, eat as close to natural as possible, meaning stay away from processed foods, and having protein, a source of protein every time you eat or with every meal, is good, mainly because it helps slow down the release of glucose or sugar, any kind of sugar you may have eaten with your food, or at least it's a slow release into the bloodstream. Okay, and that gives you satiety. And also, protein is more thermogenic than carbs and fat. Okay, that doesn't mean that I only eat protein. Towards the beginning of the day, I have more starchy carbs, which is oatmeal in the morning. I have brown rice or potatoes or any variety of natural starchy carbohydrates with lunch. My breakfast has pretty much been oatmeal for 15 years. Some people don't like that. I don't care. And so you got your brown rice, or brown rice or potatoes or whatever, what have you, starchy. And you always have vegetables with the meal, like lunch. Now, your post-workout meal is going to be all about rebuilding and re-energizing, rejuvenating, reinvigorating your muscles. So you're going to have a source of protein, a source of carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates converts to sugar, and sugar is part of the rebuilding process of muscle, assuming that you did exercises that involve stimulating the muscle. So with that, I would have fast release protein, fast release carbohydrate. Easy. Some kind of 100% natural juice, for example, and whey protein powder, or some kind of fast release protein. And as the day goes on, just decrease those starchy carbs, and then you're only on to a protein and some source of fibrous carbs, which is veggies. You're always free to have nuts and things like that. Now, I'm not going to tell you every kind of variety of food you can eat, but it's basically you reduce your starches as the day goes on. You try to eat your starches around your workout to support your workout before and after. And you stay as close to natural as possible. You got to keep it unprocessed. It's ridiculously simple stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. I never starve. Okay, so you got these people, like I said, or these girls saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat. I'm on a diet. I'm gonna starve myself." Okay, you don't want to see those girls 5-10 years later. Doesn't matter how skinny they look with clothes on. Those chicks are loose and squishy. Let's put it that way. They're not feeding their muscle. I never starve. Okay, so I eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. And once you're starving, one of the rules, or one of the sayings is, once you're starving, your metabolism is already slowing down. So it's kind of like, once you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. That kind of thing. So I say the way I live is like a luxury. I'm never hungry. I feel great. I keep my body fat low. My mood is great. I'm strong. I don't get sick like other people. I mean, I'd say it's a pretty good deal. So when people say, "How do you stay fit for so long?" or "You're so disciplined," it's like, actually, it's super easy. I mean, the way you live is chaos. I don't know how you do that. This is easy. I'm about to eat right now. What are you about to do? Starve yourself? Or wait hours and then you end up gorging yourself with food? Yeah, so then the next thing, aside from my extremely easy way of eating, my extremely luxurious, easygoing existence of eating and training, or eating, is training. So I say you have to work out at least 5 days a week if you want to keep your body fat at a good level. You can't take your workouts too easy, of course, and you have to be consistent. So this will probably be good for another video, but I'm going to try to break this down. With exercise and with nutrition, it's good to follow like the 90-10 rule, okay? 90% of the time, let's focus on nutrition. 90% of the time, you're going to eat well, eat as clean as possible, meaning unprocessed, not a bunch of added toppings and unnecessary sauces and sugar, blah blah blah. 10% of the time you could have a bit of fun. So that would be like, for example, for me, I have one cheat meal a week currently. In the past, I would have one cheat meal a month. It really just depends on my mood or my what physiological phase I'm going through, because your body's gonna change over time, where sometimes you'll be real hungry, sometimes you're not. For me, that tends to happen in cycles of months. Like some months I'm like hungrier than others, and it lasts like 3 months, sometimes 6 months. So right now, over the summer, I've been having a cheat meal once a week with my son. When I buy food, we go out to eat. It's the same with training. So with training, you want to be in the gym at least 90% of the time with your schedule. Besides, you should have some sort of scheduled training breaks. It all depends on what kind of training you're doing, your fitness level and the intensity and all that. Right now I'm trying to learn gymnastic skills, so every 4 weeks I do just a conditioning week. So I do 4 weeks straight of calisthenic strength and stressing myself out basically, and then on the 5th week I just focus on like stretches and some conditioning stuff, and I'm not doing as much volume, as many exercises. That's my current schedule. Again, these things change over time, and it all depends on various things. That's better for a different video. So the 90-10 rule is good. Now, with training, you'll have your scheduled training breaks, and then that 10%, if whatever weird random stuff happens and you have to take a day off. But that should be pretty rare, because you should be getting healthier, and you pretty much shouldn't be getting sick as much. I never really have a random day off, and that's because every 4 weeks I have like easier training. And I like to be in the gym, so. And then about every 10 weeks or so, I actually do have a training break. And on that training break, I tend to, take walks, go to the park, do some stretching, stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically it for how I stayed fit for 15 years. I hope that helped. So I'm just going to really summarize. The first way I've stayed fit for 15 years is my beliefs. I believe in using the power of being a human and having certain amounts of control over my life and being able to recognize what's good and what's bad for me. So I consciously don't really see any reason why I shouldn't take care of myself. And then the technicals, which is education, nutrition, a nutritional scheme that I can follow for life, exercise, you have to have an exercise scheme, and consistency. I'll add 2 more things. For nutrition, I recommend the book Burn the Fat, Feed the Muscle by Tom Venuto. That'll help many people, and I've actually followed that book since 2007. And regarding exercise, the other thing I'd like to add is you gotta change it up. So, for example, when I very first started working out, right after I had my son, I only followed video trainers, whatever. Then, when I got certified personal training, I started doing bodybuilding. I did bodybuilding for 8 years. Now, I'm doing calisthenic strength and gymnastics, which is why my arms are straight. I mean, I like more muscular arms, but I'm focusing on other stuff now. But yeah, I think it's very important to change it up and to always have, maybe for me, I had a list of things I've always wanted to do. And gymnastics was one of them. I just didn't know when I was going to do it, and one day I I surprisingly one day just got bored of bodybuilding, you know. As much as I tried to change it up, and I said, hey, I'm gonna do this calisthenic strength, and I eased into it. I got over the ego of wanting big muscles. It took me about 3 months, maybe longer, to finally break past that, ooh, my muscles are looking smaller thing, and I'm happier now, and I'm actually more fit now. So if this video helped you, well, I hope this video helped you and didn't bore you. And if you have any questions for me in the future, just post a comment below, and I'll be back on more topics that have yet to be written in my blog.